You're watching a TV series in English, you understand everything. You're having a conversation, native speakers are talking to you, you understand everything. And suddenly they ask you a simple question in English and bam, you're frozen. So how can you understand English but still struggle in speaking it? There are lots of reasons for that. In this video, I'll be telling you all the reasons why you know English, you can understand everything, but you cannot speak it sometimes. And I'll be giving you some solutions. So watch this video till the end and let me know if it's useful in the comment section. So let's get started. You understand English, so why can't you speak it? Let's start with an example. I have the word overwhelmed here, and I have two questions to ask you. What does this word mean, and can you use it to describe a recent situation? Just think about it. So the word overwhelmed means the feeling of having too much to manage emotionally or practically. And you might have already known that. And this is very easy to think of. But it is the second thing that becomes a little bit more difficult. Describe a recent situation using this word. This is something that you need more time to think about. Before I tell you the reason why that happens, it's very important to know the difference between two different things. The first one is recognition. First of all, you need to be able to understand and recognize a word. For example, understanding the word exhausted, meaning very tired, it's very easy. I hear the word exhausted, I know that it means very tired. But the second stage is retrieval. It's important to be able to use the word exhausted when you're speaking. So you say, I was completely exhausted yesterday. So these two things are two very different things. I know this word, I see it, I recognize it. I hear it, I recognize it. But then being able to take this word and speak using it is another process that's called the retrieval. Using a word, how does that happen? First of all, you recognize a word as we talked about it. Then you recall it slowly. It does not happen fast. That's why you need more time to think about it. And then you use it with help. You ask your teacher, you need more time to think, you check your vocabulary notebook. It just doesn't happen spontaneously. And the last stage is that you are able to use the word with ease. The word, the structure, the expression, what we're talking about here is basically whatever vocabulary or grammar input that you receive in your classes, that you read somewhere, that you hear somewhere. So we're not necessarily talking about individual words. And the thing is that why do learners develop so much passive knowledge? Why do we have a lot of things in our brain that we're not able to use in speaking, let's say, naturally? Because most of the learners learn using the strategies that are written here. For example, they watch something, they watch films, TV series, they watch the news, they watch YouTube videos, they read things. Obviously, they read magazines, they use their textbooks, they highlight things, they review things, and they use like multiple choice exercises for the people who are trying to like review single words. But these things are great, they're excellent for input, but they're not enough for spontaneous speaking. So you're just giving yourself a lot of input, but you're not preparing yourself to turn the input into output. So let's take a look at how we freeze under pressure. When you have to speak, when you're there and people are looking at you, waiting for you to say something, to respond to them, this is the process that your brain is going through. First of all, you have to find the vocabulary in your brain. Second, you choose the right grammar to express it. Third, you need to pronounce it correctly. Fourth, you need to understand the other person. And lastly, you need to worry about mistakes. And all these things at the same time in your brain is just a lot of pressure. So that's why producing what you have learned is way more difficult than just understanding it. So there is something called the perfection trap. It's very important not to get into the perfection trap, because many people think that they need to have the idea, they need to do the translating from their own language to English, and then they need to have the perfect grammar, and then comes the speaking. It's 100% wrong. You need to have the idea, you need to create a clear message, and then you speak. It's okay. There might be some pronunciation problems, there might be some grammatical mistakes, but the only way to correct them is to make those mistakes. Moving on, what's the solution? The solution to this problem is that the only thing is that you need to notice the vocabulary first of all. Notice that this is something new that you don't know. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you understand that this is something that you don't know, you need to retrieve this vocabulary, meaning that you need to review it over and over again, try to use it in different situations, make statements, and then keep reusing it. And over time, you become comfortable with that vocabulary item. Now I'm gonna give you a daily 10-minute routine that helps you a lot in learning more, let's say, phrases and expressions in English. First thing you gotta do is that you will have to review yesterday's expression because you have to come back to them if you want to remember them. The second stage is that notice 2 or 3 useful chunks. The thing is that you should not learn vocabulary items in isolation. Learning the word "and" alone is not going to help you a lot in learning the expression "end up doing something." Learn it like that. End up doing something. Write it down the same way. Then you would have to retrieve them without looking. So the yesterday's expressions and today's expression together, try to make sentences, try to apply them to new contexts, and maybe write them down to help you remember. And then the last stage is that prepare some questions, try to answer the questions using these expressions given, not all of them, but some of them. Record yourself and then listen to yourself again, try to correct yourself. Am I pronouncing this word correctly? How am I saying this? It helps you a lot in learning, let's say, vocabulary items. You do not have to learn 23 words a day. Learning 2 to 3 expressions or collocations daily helps you a lot in a month. So I'm going to give you a 7-day challenge. Prepare a notebook divided into 7 different sections, and then write down 3 different expressions daily. Try to go through the same process that I told you earlier. So take a look at them, review them, make sentences, and then try to answer some questions, record yourself, try to speak as long as possible. Here I wrote for you that it's better if it's only 1 minute, but then you could even make it longer. Listen to yourself using and speaking and put checks next to the expressions that you're using them. The more checks you put next to the expressions, it means that the more comfortable you're becoming in using that word. And review before adding more is really important. Like day 2, you're reviewing day 1 vocabulary items and adding day 2 ones. And day 3, you're reviewing day 1, day 2, and adding 3 more. That's how it's gonna happen. So next time that you freeze while you're speaking, do not take it as an immediate sign that your English is bad. It's normal, it happens, it's frustrating, but it is not permanent. Do not stop at the input level. Watch movies, watch films, give yourself things to read, but then try to also use them in meaningful conversations. Try to make sentences, try to record yourself, talk about different things, and let's say ideally join conversation lessons so that you will be able to communicate better. And if you're interested in learning English and more importantly, how learning happens, this is exactly what we're going to talk about in this channel. So subscribe here and I'll be back with more videos.